going to be really interesting to see what happens at the quarterback position. With Haynes King getting healthier now, it wouldn't be surprised to see him obviously get some snaps in the bowl game. But that competition between Zach Calzada, Haynes King, and Connor Wigman is going to be really fascinating to watch throughout the offseason. I think A&M still needs to get better in the quarterback room, in a good spot in the running back room, and still obviously looking to add some talent in the wide receiver room. But they're going to have to get better up front, and that group has just not taken the step forward that I think many hoped it might by the end of the year. With two freshmen starting, there was obviously going to be some growing pains, but um, they've got to be able to establish the line of scrimmage. Everything that Jimbo Fisher wants to do offensively starts with establishing the line of scrimmage and starts with the run game. And credit to LSU, they fought and they gamed that they needed to become bowl eligible, but they leave no doubt A&M had the advantages in terms of depth and in terms of numbers, and weren't able to take advantage of that, and faced a team tonight that at many times was just hungrier and playing harder, and obviously came out with a lot of motion playing in Ed Orgeron's last game, and that's something that A&M knew was probably going to be the case, and should have anticipated. So looking ahead to the offseason, there's obviously a lot that A&M is going to have to digest and learn from, and move forward, because the expectations are certainly going to be towards building a championship caliber roster, and that's something A&M's sold on the recruiting trail. And it's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks how A&M can finish. The early signing period is only a few weeks away, and this certainly not how A&M wanted to finish the regular season with 2 losses to close out SEC play. When it looked like they might have a chance to get to the SEC championship game at one point in early November. Didn't end up getting that done, and so I think there's a lot that A&M is going to have to look at in the offseason. Obviously, the recruiting continues to be really good on the defensive side of the ball, but I think on the offensive side of the ball, there's going to have to be questions, and there's going to have to be some open answers about where to get better and where to improve, because A&M needs to be more consistent on that side of the ball, especially up front and along the offensive line. And you're going to have to replace a guy like Kenyon Green. That's not going to be easy, but Reuben Fothery and Bryce Foster, obviously a great place to start, as well as Aiden Robinson. But in a game like this, A&M needs to be able to establish the line of scrimmage, and they just didn't in this game, and that's something that I know will be disappointing for the staff moving forward. I think looking at the positives from this game, there were a couple, but or not. Boy, Michael Clemens had a fantastic night tonight. He finishes with 4 tackles and 3.5 sacks. Was just really, really all over the field, and especially in the second half, generating pressure. I think he showed just how much he's grown in terms of the moves that he's built and the moves that he's developed, and just had a really, really strong night tonight, and deserves a lot of credit for the way he's continued to get better and the way he's grown. Damani Richardson, he's another guy that deserves a lot of credit. Brought him off the edge quite a bit tonight, and he ends up with 2 tackles for a loss, a sack, 6 tackles overall, and just a really, really good night. He's been kind of a weapon this season, and Mike Elko certainly brought him off the edge quite a bit, and he's been able to help generate pressure, and was a big key in the second half when you look at some of the stops that A&M were able to get and generate, and just being able to find ways to get to the quarterback. It was a big key, because a great example is that sequence late in the fourth quarter where they're looking at a first and at a second and 1, and Damani Richardson and Michael Clemens both come up with sacks. That's huge in that situation. And so those 2 guys, I thought, along the defensive side of the ball, were the bright spots, but obviously not quite enough late, and missed tackles are something that really hurt this team again, and have continued to hurt this team throughout the year in certain spots. So it's something they're gonna have to look at as well and then figure out in the offseason. That's an area that they can certainly grow. There's gonna be a lot to replace on the defensive side of the ball, and that was an experienced unit. And you hope with an experienced unit like that they can get off to faster starts. But